You built the systems. You hired the people. You handed things off, and you're still in everything. That's the experience. That experience isn't a leadership failure. It's a paradox. And paradoxes have structural explanations. This video is about naming the explanations so clearly that the pattern becomes visible instead of just frustrating. Today, we're going to take a look at what the paradox actually is, why systems alone don't solve it, the difference between a task and a decision, where the team goes when they hit the edge, what dependency costs beyond time, what the paradox reveals, and the summary. What the dependency paradox actually is. The paradox isn't about effort. The founder is doing the right things, delegating, building systems, trusting the team with real work. The effort is genuine. The paradox is that the effort produces coordination and oversight instead of freedom. The paradox isn't about people. The team isn't incompetent. The dependency isn't a hiring problem. It's a design problem. The team was set up to do the work, not to own the outcomes. Those two things require completely different infrastructure. The paradox is about what's missing at the edge of every task. Every documented process has an edge, where the expected situations end and the unexpected begins. At the edge, the team must either escalate or make a call. Without the infrastructure to make that call, escalation is the only option. The founder receives the escalation and fills the gap, and the dependency is confirmed. Why systems alone don't solve it. Stage 4, built the systems. Stage 5, discovers that systems alone only solve half the problem, the predictable half. What systems handle well? The expected situation, when a process works as designed. Repeatable tasks with known inputs and outputs. Quality standards for work that fits the template. Communication rhythms. The 80% of situations the founder anticipated. What systems can handle? The unexpected client request outside of scope. The competing priority when two things are both urgent. The judgment call about whether to proceed or escalate. The decision that requires context the system doesn't carry. The 20% of situations nobody anticipated where decisions live. That 20% is where the founder still gets pulled in every time because there's nothing else there to answer it. The difference between a task and a decision. Founders hand off tasks. Teams execute tasks. The dependency lives in the decision surrounding every task. And decisions were never really handed off. A task is a defined unit of work with a known process and a measurable output. Send a weekly report. Update the client on project status. Review the draft before it goes out. Tasks are executable without judgment if the situation is exactly as expected. A decision is a judgment call about what to do when the situation doesn't fit the process. The client asks for something outside of scope. Do we do it? Two things are both urgent. Which one do I do first? This doesn't look right. Do we proceed or stop? Decisions require context, authority, and the confidence that the call won't be reversed. The dependency isn't in the task, it's in the decision layer surrounding every task that never moved. Where the team goes when they hit the edge. Every team member hits the edge of their documentation eventually. What happens there determines whether the business builds leverage or confirms dependency. They escalate. Rational behavior in a system where the founder is the only available decision maker, escalation isn't failure. The team escalates because the structure rewards it, not because they can't think. The behavior is a response to the structure, not a character trait. They stop, which costs time and momentum the founder doesn't see. Sometimes the team doesn't escalate, they pause. The founder sees a deliverable that's late, and the explanation sounds like an excuse. But in reality, it's actually a symptom of the same missing infrastructure. They decide, and sometimes get it wrong, which trains them to stop deciding. When a team member's call is reversed, even gently, it sends a signal. Your judgment doesn't match the standard. Then the next time they hit that edge, they remember that, and they escalate instead. What dependency cost beyond time? The obvious cost is the founder's time. The less obvious costs are what dependency does to the team and to the business's ability to grow. The team stops developing judgment because they never practiced it. Judgment is built through making decisions, observing outcomes, and calibrating. A team that always escalates never gets to make the decision, so they never build the judgment the founder is waiting for them to demonstrate. The business can't move faster than the founder's ability. Every decision that returns to the founder is queued behind every other decision they have to make. More business means more edge cases, and it makes it worse, not better. The best people leave because they hired on for ownership and got supervision instead. High performing people don't join teams to escalate every difficult call. A dependency structure systematically prevents real responsibility, and the people who wanted it, they're the ones that leave first the most. What the dependency paradox reveals. The left column on the screen is the current state. This is what running on founder as the answer looks like in practice. Every edge case escalates to the founder. Team throughput is capped by the founder's availability. Judgment stays in one person's head. The best people leave. Supervision isn't part of what they signed up for. The ceiling is the founder's bandwidth. The paradox is visible in that column, where the cost of business compounds with every new hire, every new client, every quarter it stays in place. The workbooks are where you examine where each of these shows up in your specific business and which of them is currently costing you the most. Workbook 1, it covers why everything still comes back to you. Summary. 4 takeaways. 1. The paradox is structural, not personal or about people. The founder did everything right. The dependency persists because the ownership infrastructure was never actually built. 2. Systems solve the predictable half, but the decisions live in the other half, at the edge of every process. Those decisions return to the founder by default. 3. Dependency compounds, and the best people leave. Judgment doesn't develop without practice. The team stops growing, and high performers exit. 4. The paradox is visible in what comes back, not tasks, decisions. That pattern tells you exactly where your ownership infrastructure is missing. That pattern is what the next video names precisely, and where ownership breaks down and why. I'm going to bring it back around to the quote that I want to stick with you. Systems solve the predictable half. Decisions live in the other half, at the edge of every process. That's where dependency loops live and where it has to be resolved. If today's video named the pattern you've been trying to solve, I invite you to take a look at Workbook 1, and that's where we examine where in your specific business decisions are still returning back to you and why. I'm also going to invite you to take the leverage versus labor diagnostic assessment. It's free, and it shows you whether the current structure is producing leverage or just a different form of workload. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you found this helpful, drop the word paradox in the comments. It lets me know that I got it right, and I should continue giving you more of this type of information. I'll see you in the next video.